Tonight, damaging winds of up to 100 kilometres an hour wreak havoc across parts of the Spencer Gulf. And Eyre Peninsula fire authorities gear up for dangerous fire conditions as harvest gets underway for farmers.
This is Southern Cross News with Abby Donaldson.
Hello, thanks for joining us. Well, damaging winds of more than 100 kilometres an hour have wreaked havoc across the mid-north. Emergency services have been kept busy undergoing an extensive clean-up operation. Dominic Beaton has more.
Wild weather has left a path of destruction through Port Pirie, with winds of more than 100 kilometres an hour tearing out trees from the ground and knocking signs off of businesses. Sunday night saw the skies above the Spencer Gulf light up with thunder and lightning, followed by heavy rains and accompanied by powerful winds. Emergency services worked throughout the night and into the morning, dealing with an array of issues from power outages to blocked roads. Locals are now in the process of cleaning up their yards and driveways.
So while there's no wind about, it's ideal to do it. But if it's windy, you may as well leave it where it is.
A local dentist and even the Port Pirie recorder copped damage to the front of their shops, while some houses and sheds lost roofing panels. And some houses are still without electricity after power lines were dangerously torn down by the storm. Although the winds may have calmed down, emergency services are still busy with the clean-up, removing fallen debris from the roads and people's front yards. SAPOL have advised drivers to remain cautious on the roads as many are still yet to be completely cleared.
Meantime, the wild weather also hit Broken Hill today, with the Silver City enduring its second thunderstorm in as many weeks. Locals woke to heavy rain and lightning strikes over the line of load, with the stormy conditions hanging around for most of the day. The additional rain has been welcomed by local farmers who continue to struggle through one of the worst droughts in the country's history. Well, Eyre Peninsula fire authorities are gearing up for dangerous fire conditions as harvest gets underway for farmers, warning those not ready could face life-threatening consequences.
It's a potentially deadly situation no farmer wants to face. Last year's harvest season saw 4 fires on the Eyre Peninsula and West Coast caused by harvesters and other machinery going up in flames. The CFS hoping these accidents don't happen again.
Obviously be responsible when harvesting and operating farm machinery and operating or undertaking farming tasks.
Machinery failure is the most common cause of harvester fires, causing life-threatening situations.
The consequences will be that they're putting their life and others' potential lives in danger.
As farmers prepare for harvesting across the Eyre Peninsula, fireys are urging them to check their machinery is in working order. Farmers can also protect themselves this bushfire season with their own personal firefighting equipment. The CFS asking those farmers to register their units like this one to create a region-wide database.
That enables us to look after them, and it helps for a coordinated approach on the fire ground to try and manage the fire.
Fire danger season on the Eyre Peninsula kicks off November 1st, and if you haven't already got a bushfire survival plan in place, you can do so on the CFS website. Casey Trelaw, Southern Cross News.
Dog tags, badges and ribbons have been callously stolen from the Melrose RSL War Museum. It marks the 3rd robbery of historic heirlooms around the Spencer Gulf just the past week, following break-ins at Port Pirie and Cowal. Police are uncertain if the crimes are linked, but are urging locals to be on the lookout for war memorabilia and call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. 5 young boys have been charged after allegedly breaking into a Port Lincoln school. It's alleged the youths broke into the Navigator College canteen during the school holidays. The boys aged 10, 12, 13 and 14, as well as a 13-year-old from Ceduna, were arrested and charged. It comes as another school was broken into at Yalata on the far west coast last week. 6 teenage boys were arrested and charged for property damage and the theft of 2 iPads. Meanwhile, stolen train track detonators have Broken Hill Police concerned about the public's safety. The small explosives used as a warning for train drivers can be life-threatening if not properly handled.
They're dangerous devices that police hope haven't fallen into the wrong hands.
If mishandled, it can result in serious injuries, whether it's missing fingers or a hand, or even eye injuries, because they usually explode and fragments will hit you in the face, or it could actually cause death.
Police say between Friday afternoon and Saturday afternoon, over 30 train track detonators were stolen from a carriage in Broken Hill. The small coin-sized devices are commonly used as a loud warning signal to locomotive operators. When a train goes over one, it explodes. The detonators can be used to caution train drivers in foggy conditions or to let them know if there's engineering work taking place down the track.
It's an explosive, so we just want, if anyone has seen them or knows who may have them, don't touch them, don't move them. They need to be handled by experts, and we'll get someone out there to come and collect them.
Police say to have so many detonators stolen is a major concern, given the gruesome results if they're mishandled. 6 years ago, a 15-year-old boy in New South Wales lost his hand after hitting one with a hammer. Another lost his eye. Anyone with information regarding the detonator theft should contact Crime Stoppers immediately. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
3 people have been charged with drink driver offences in Port Lincoln, including one motorist on their P plates. Police stopped 2 drivers at about 3 a.m. on Saturday, including a 34-year-old man who blew more than 2 times the limit, with later checks revealing he was already disqualified from driving. A P plater was also caught that night with an illegal blood alcohol reading. Well, school's back, which means so are school zones. Thousands of kids in our region return to school today for Term 4. It means 25 km/h zones are back in force. Police are urging drivers to be extra cautious as children can behave unpredictably when crossing the road. Still to come tonight, local men encouraged to open up at the Let's Talk event in Whyalla, and how a company in the Clare Valley is wowing local wineries with their boxes of love. Welcome back. Well, local men are being encouraged to be more open and speak about their emotions and personal struggles. Olympian Carl Chalmers shared his story at the Let's Talk event in Whyalla, showing men it's okay to ask for help.
Encouraging men to talk. That's the aim of the Let's Talk event in Whyalla, urging local men to no longer suffer in silence and look after their mental health.
Doesn't discriminate to any age, so it's brilliant to see such a diverse range here just willing to have a crack and change the stigma within Whyalla.
The conversations were eye-opening and emotional as guest speakers shared their experiences. Clinicians were on hand for those needing support, while art and music were also part of the day. Mr. Edwards says not only do they want men to tackle their issues, they also want people to be able to recognise symptoms in others.
Taking away tools to be able to just approach people and ask if they are going okay, have the tools to have the conversation.
Rio gold medalist Carl Chalmers swapped the pool for the podium, empowering those in the audience. He says a healthy mind is just as critical as good physical health.
This is huge, and I wish there was more people here today to hear about it because it is such an important factor in life.
The Port Lincoln-born swimmer has hinted he'd eventually like to return home and be part of the solution.
You can't see someone as quickly as you could in the city. Me and my brother would really love to move home eventually and be a psychologist back there.
Remember, if you or someone you know needs help, call Lifeline on 131 114. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Whyalla Steelworks owner Sanjeev Gupta's worldwide expansion is continuing. His company has signed a conditional agreement to buy 4 steelworks in Italy, Romania, Macedonia and the Czech Republic. They're currently owned by ArcelorMittal, one of the world's largest steel makers. If approved, it'll add an extra 15 million tonnes and 12,000 employees to the business. The finish line is in sight for the Silverton Wind Farm. Work crews are just 10 turbines away from completing the construction phase of the project. 13 of the wind turbines are currently generating electricity. When it's fully functional, there will be 58. Strong winds in the region have caused some delays when craning the blades into place, but AGL still expects the project to be completed by the end of the year. Broken Hill employers are being encouraged to upskill their workers through an exciting program at Vocational Training Centre, Robinson College.
Strengthening the workforce one skill at a time.
Anybody can receive funding to upskill their workforce, fully funded.
Through the New South Wales Government's Training Needs and Indications funding, and employers' workers can now do free courses in a number of different areas. It means miners can learn forklifting or a carpenter can learn how to drive a bobcat. So if the day comes and someone loses their job, they have secondary skill sets.
The idea is that you have transitional employment skills.
Robinson College has already seen a strong influx of businesses and companies coming on board.
One of the businesses just saved $20,000 in upskilling his workforce, so he is now putting on 2 apprentices. So that's really exciting news for Broken Hill, and this is the way the funding is designed.
A similar initiative for employers affected by the drought is also available.
There isn't any reason in Broken Hill in the Far West region why somebody can't tap into some form of fully funded training.
Miss Dodie Mead is encouraging anyone interested in the skill training to contact Robinson College. Patrick Ryanke, Southern Cross News.
The Spencer Gulf Uni Hub is taking more steps towards its 2019 start date, with its board officially appointed today. Leading the 9-person board will be Port Augusta local Dr Jen Cleary, with Brenton Vanstone from Port Pirie as deputy chair. The Uni Hub is due to start in Port Pirie next year, and a centre in Port Augusta will open in 2020. After 2 years, the Relay for Life has made a return to Port Augusta. Over 100 participants braved the hot weather at the weekend and pulled on their wacky costumes, all for a good cause.
Taking the steps towards fighting cancer. Men, women and children have once again walked laps upon laps around Chinnery Park for this year's Relay for Life. Sadly, many are all drawn together by a common thread.
Unfortunately, most of these people here would have been touched by cancer, and that's the reason that they're here.
For the survivors and carers who kicked off the 19-hour relay, the day is an important way to support the people who've survived the cancer battle, and remember those who weren't so lucky.
To just show our support for people that are going through cancer, and mainly for the carers as well.
A striking feature of any Relay for Life event is the flamboyant themed outfits. And this year we saw pirates, superheroes and wacky hats.
We're called Mad Hatters because our parents are mad and they made us join the team.
But behind all the outfits are personal stories that emphasise the importance of the day.
I watched my dad die of cancer and it's pretty rough.
Pop, so it's for pop.
For Dad.
Organisers say initial countings estimate around $22,000 has been raised and say the strong showing of people gives them hope of the relay returning again in 2019. Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
A company in the Clare Valley is wowing local wineries with their boxes of love. Clare Valley Enterprises has now gained recognition from Brand SA while changing the lives of people with disabilities.
For these box-making craftsmen, it's about what's on the outside that counts. Making a sustainable wooden box hand-branded with a label and placing it on a shelf for sale. Clare Valley Enterprises has been successfully operating within the back streets of the iconic town for a number of decades, and it is now being recognised on a bigger scale.
Engaged in the whole process of rebranding our operation up to Clare Valley Enterprises. And in conjunction with that, we also had to get ready for the National Disability Insurance Scheme, potential nominee, or as a nominee for the Brand SA Regional Awards.
The company can have almost up to 30 people working on the factory floor each week, carefully cutting, nailing and stamping a range of custom-made wine display boxes commissioned by some of the region and the world's most recognisable brands.
Mainly on the panel saw, cutting the components for most of the boxes that come through.
The company's recent rebrand has helped the industry gain more customers from their backyard, and their efforts have even caught the attention of local businesses, who have been eager to poach some of the hard-working staff.
Some of us have been offered jobs over the years with other wineries.
Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
Love that story. Well, stay with us after the break. Cricket's back in some parts of the Gulf and we'll have all the results up next. And after some wild stormy weather, skies are expected to clear over the coming days. I'll have all the local weather details soon. Hello again. Well, cricket season has returned in parts of the Spencer Gulf and the first round dished out some interesting results. Garth Burley joins us from Port Augusta. And Garth, one weekend into the competition and there's already been an upset.
Yes, that's right, Abby. West Augusta were the unlikely winners after setting a target of just 128. But Central Stirling failed to forge strong batting partnerships. Batting first, the Westies' top order struggled on a slower pitch, but some big late order hitting helped them to a defendable first innings total. Last year's finalists Central Stirling were shaky in response, losing 4 early wickets. A handy 5th wicket stand of 31 runs gave them hope, but the Westies' bowlers wrapped up a 25-run win. The big match between reigning champs Corn and South lived up to its hype. Chasing 175, South eventually going down by 14 runs. In Port Pirie, last year's runners-up Proprietary made a strong start to the season, skittling South Port for just 49 runs. The win was set up by an incredible spell of bowling from Cameron Pine, who took 6 for 6 off just 9 overs. In the other match, 37 runs from Ollie Costmay helped Solly set a competitive target of 137. And in response, Wandera made the bowlers nervous, eventually going down by 3 runs. Moving to Whyalla Soccer now, and Steel United have upset Lions to clinch the cup title. United came out firing, netting 3 goals in the victory. In Broken Hill tennis, top spins, smashes and volleys all recorded wins, while only 5 games could separate a close encounter between drop shots and forehands, after both sides were locked at 2 sets apiece. So Abby, it's good to see cricket starting back around a few of the regions. Whyalla, Port Lincoln and Broken Hill cricket comps will kick off this weekend.
Thanks, Garth. And time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. As mentioned earlier, we saw some wild stormy weather around the Gulf today, but it was still warm. 29 was the top in Port Augusta, Port Pirie and Broken Hill. On the satellite, thick cloud over southern parts of SA with a trough and deepening low pressure system is bringing those showers and thunderstorms, some severe. Taking a look at the waters for your Tuesday, westerly shifting northwesterly winds up to 30 knots, seas at 2 metres with the south-southwesterly swell, and sunrise is at 6:39 a.m. Well, it's looking like that stormy weather will clear, but there's the chance of showers for most centres tomorrow. We will see quite a drop in temperatures too. Port Augusta, cloudy and 23. Port Lincoln, 17, the top tomorrow. Broken Hill, fine conditions for you, heading for a top of 25 degrees. Taking a look at the rest of the week now, and a fair bit of cloud cover about on Wednesday. Port Lincoln 17, the top, Cleve 19, Woodner fine and 22, and warming up slightly for Thursday with a mix of sunshine and cloud there. And a mixed bag of weather to end the week. Port Lincoln could see a sprinkle of rain, Cleve windy and 28 the top, and Woodner warming up to 31 degrees. Mostly fine conditions here for your Wednesday. Port Augusta 23 the top, warming up for Thursday slightly. Whyalla and Kadina 23 the top as well, and a very windy Friday forecast as the dial rises into the 30s. Port Augusta 33 the max to end the week. And lastly, the odd shower over the coming days for Port Pirie and Clare. Lovely sunshine for Thursday though. Port Pirie reaching 25 degrees, Broken Hill warming up to 30 degrees for Friday, and windy conditions forecast for Port Pirie and Clare to end the week. Well, that's all the local news this Monday. Thanks for your company. Good night.